I'd like now to hand over to Dr. Michael Balcom. He is the FFWPU, or the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, Continental President for Europe and the Middle East. He's got a great backdrop there with the Hadrian's Wall. Currently, he's in, right now he's in Wiltshire. Dr. Balcom is someone who met the unification movement in the mid-70s and has a doctorate from Unification Theological Seminary, and has been doing sterling work, both, first of all, with 7 years as the communication director of International UPF, but then also as continental, I think, president or director of the United States, and now with Europe and the Middle East. I'm going to hand over the screen to you now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Robin, for that kind invitation, and good evening, everybody. Well, yes, it's true, I'm not at Hadrian's Wall, but my job this evening is to persuade you to make this a reality. And I'm going to share my screen. Robin suggested I ought to start by explaining my background in organizing peace pilgrimage, because I have a lot of experience doing that. And I want you to trust me that this is going to be a fantastic experience. So here we are. This was my first one, organizing a peace pilgrimage across all 50 states of America in 43 days, retracing the steps of Father Moon back in 1965 when he first came to America. It was really fun, of course, went to some magnificent places, including the Grand Canyon, Death Valley, Las Vegas, and more. And that gave me the taste of organizing pilgrimages for people to visit some of the meaningful places in American civil history. We walked across the bridge in Selma, Alabama, where Martin Luther King Jr. Once walked. We visited Dallas, Texas, where President Kennedy was sadly assassinated. Of course, we were in Washington, D.C. The next year, I organized the Peace Road 2015. You heard a little bit about it in the video, from San Diego to Nome. You might wonder, where is Nome or Nome? Well, Nome is actually very close to where the bridge would come across from Russia, and it will go through Nome on its way to the rest of America. Now, there's a problem because Nome is a very remote place. Actually, it doesn't have a road to the rest of America at the moment. It just has roads in the city. But a few of us went, we met with the local authorities, we told them that the Peace Road would be coming, and they were delighted. A couple of years later, I organized this event, the Peace Road in the Balkans, traveling through that formerly conflict-ridden area. We kicked off in the Parliament of Albania. It was mostly a bike riding tour, but also with dance and local performances. We had a wonderful bus to take us between the major cities, and then it was onto the bikes. So that went through Albania, Montenegro, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Serbia, and on to Bosnia. And in subsequent years, we also went to Srebrenica and other iconic places of the conflict during the Balkan War. But fast forward to 2021, what's going to happen this year? Why should you get involved? Can you trust it? Well, you can read a little bit more on our brochure, Peace Road, here. It answers some of the key questions, and it gives you a map of the walk, which will start on the west coast in Bowness on Solway and end up at Tyneside Lighthouse about 8 days later. It's 90 miles, 150 kilometers. So our modest goal is to do it in a week. We shall see. Actually, as I was preparing, I thought of an interesting similarity, just taking a look at this map again of how the Peace Road UK will follow the course. And isn't it a little bit similar to this, the 38th parallel crossing Korea, almost the same shape, actually, and in fact, almost the same length. So as Oliver said, Korea is still divided. We can't walk along the 38th parallel, but we can do something symbolically here in the UK. This is the Emperor Hadrian, bit of a rascal, really, and best remembered for the wall. Back in his day, it would have looked something like this, fortified every mile with turrets and every few miles with forts full of soldiers from all over the empire. And the purpose, of course, was to try to defend the Roman Britannia in the south from the Caledonian north. But don't worry, Oliver, we will let you in when you come down to Carlisle at the end of the month. Today, this is all that's left, and even in many places, you can't see this much. But it is beautiful, wild, wonderful country, a dark sky park as well. Now we're going to start, as I mentioned, here in Bonus on Solway. This is the the official start of the walk. The first day is walking into Carlisle along the Solway Firth. The land you can see on the other side of the water there is Scotland. That's as close as the border gets in these modern times. And here's our map, and you can see as I go through that we've worked out carefully where to have lunch, where to stay. We come into Carlisle along the banks of the River Eden. It's interesting, the tour starts along the banks of Eden. We pass through Heavenfield and we end up in Paradise, Newcastle. So there might be some spiritual benefits as well. We meet here at Carlisle Castle. It's the most besieged castle in Britain. Of course, it's much later than the wall, but quite a few of the stones were taken out of the wall and put into the castle. We'll be staying here at Carlisle, Cumbria University in Carlisle. This is not a luxury tour, but we've done our best to provide comfortable accommodation each night for people who are joining us and for those who'd like to walk the whole course. On Sunday, August the 1st, we have a modest day in Carlisle. We'll start at 11 o'clock. We'll have a peace festival. We will share in more detail about the goals of the International Peace Highway. There'll be music, there'll be food, and then we will walk along the course of Hadrian's wall path within the city, past the castle, out to the War Memorial, and so on. Not too demanding. The next day, we start heading out into open country, making it as far as Brampton. We'll be staying here at the Howard Arms. If you ever wanted to stay in traditional British pubs and inns in the north, this is the time. Luckily, it's now legal. We go on from Howard Arms further across country to the Sill. This is a youth hostel, a beautiful one made with a low impact technology. And this is the kind of scenery that you can expect to see if you make it this far. There's a lot of Roman remains along the way, different forts. Of course, you have to use your imagination as to how it was, but there's some great museums as well, and lots of time just to think about what it was like all those years ago. Then we move on towards Newcastle, stopping by in Hexham. This is our hotel in Hexham, the Beaumont Arms. I just wanted to let you know you won't have to camp out under a bridge, although you could if you wanted to. And then to Headon on the Wall. And this is what, don't want to give you any false ideas. There's not a lot of wall left, but the path is very clear. And thus into Newcastle. We'll visit the Angel of the North, Anthony Gormley's statue. It's the largest sculpture in Britain, big as a jumbo jet. And finally, along the quayside in today's modern Newcastle. On Saturday, August the 7th, we'll have a similar program to the one that we held in Carlisle, but there'll be a new feature which will be testimonies from the people who've walked across the country and some of the things that they learned during that trip. So there'll be a short walk within the city along the quayside, finishing here at the Millennium Bridge, which the Queen opened in 2001. It's an interesting bridge. It tilts up. It's sometimes called the Winking Bridge. And then the final stage, we walk on to the town of Wallsend, to the Segedunum Roman Fort and Museum, and then finally out to Tynemouth or Teignmouth on the coast. And, if you're a bit tired of walking, there's a wonderful metro system in Newcastle. And this is Centonius Tectonicus, a modern representation of the Roman center. And here's our final stop at Tynemouth Pier and Lighthouse. So that's kind of the basics. And how do you get involved? There's a registration link, which Robin will make available. You can join for 1 day or for 9 days. And some people have asked me, what if I bite off more than I can chew? I think I can walk across the country, but it turns out that I can't. Well, don't worry. There's a lot of ancient burial grounds along the way, and I'm sure we can accommodate. Oh, just kidding. In fact, we'll have a rescue van that will be available to pick people up and take them to the next night's accommodation. And there's a lot of alternative activities as well, but you won't know unless you come. So what I'd like you to do is check it out and think, can I not come out to Carlisle or Newcastle and have some fun this summer? It starts on July 31st. It's only 3 weeks from now, more or less. If you can't do that, maybe you'd like to give a donation to support the event, but also we're raising funds for the work of UPF, which is really doing great work. You know, we have educational programs in Pakistan and in Africa. We are doing a major youth project in Birmingham and London next spring. UPF, of course, is a UK charity, so your donations will be supplemented by gift aid. Uh, my hope is that you will take action and join us on the Peace Road. Thank you very much, Robin, and back to you.